A little follow-up to the video on degree inflation, when I was talking about how a degree is worth less now, maybe less than it's ever been worth, or at least less than it was 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago. I wanted to follow up based on some comments, some responses I've had, and flesh out a couple of things. So first, I mentioned in the video that there are degrees that in and of themselves, if you just have a degree, no special anything on top of it, might be worth it and might get you a job. Absolutely. If you get a degree from an Ivy League school, if you get a degree from MIT, if you get a degree from Harvey Mudd, if you get a degree from probably any school that has like a top 5 program, top 5 rated program in which you're getting your degree, then those are probably going to have some value to them. Even if you're haven't demonstrated being exceptional, haven't participated in outside stuff, haven't created essentially a portfolio, those are going to get you there. And the reason is to get into those places and to just pass, their reputation is such and the experience there is such that you're going to have all the shit you need to succeed. Or you will have had a connection that gets you there. So it ties me to another thing that I alluded to that people often wonder about is there's been a rash of people, right? Like Elon Musk, I don't care if someone has a college degree. College degrees aren't worth it. You can find this shit everywhere. A college degree is just a place. College is just going to try to indoctrinate you with liberal ideology. They're not really giving you any good ideas. Those people are short-sighted, simple-minded, and they don't have very good arguments. And I'll use a super famous example, right? Like, oh my God, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, they didn't even get their degrees. Well, yeah, they didn't need a degree to tell the people of the world that they were good at what they do. And the shit most people get from the process of getting a degree, they got elsewhere or somewhere along the way. So unless you are, Bill Gates was like math super genius who was coding from the womb, 60 years ago. If you were able to code and write computer code and design computer shit and super duper good at math at 12, the way he was, then you don't need a college education to help you develop those skills because you have them. Similarly, Mark Zuckerberg, it's funny, he's like, oh my God, you ended up having what at one point was the most valuable business in la 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 la. He never even finished his degree. College degrees aren't worth. Well, what allowed him to get that fucking company started? Experiences and relationships he had and built where? College, yes. Where did he meet the folks who ended up funding Facebook? Oh, college. Where did he get the experience and practice and ideas and develop those ideas? Oh, college. Yeah, those were all relationships, resources, ideas, the ability to work on the shit that he developed while he was in college. He just didn't need to get the degree anymore. Why? Because he started a company that was going to make all of the money. All of the money in the universe it made. It might be an exaggeration. And if I said that, Elon Musk is probably coming after me because his feeling is hurt that someone said someone was richer than he was when he's, whatever. Cool. Awesome. So 2 things, right? So far. 1, there are degrees that in and of themselves are worth it. College degrees, general degrees. Even if you just have a general studies degree from Harvard, it's worth more than just a degree from your average state school. That's just the way it's going to work. But a lot of that has to do with all sorts of things other than the curriculum, your grades, everything else. We demonstrate that and argue against the people who say, well, no one needs a college degree. College degrees are worthless. No, you don't need a college degree if you can demonstrate all of the things and skills and abilities that are required in college or should be required in college. And a college degree should demonstrate you have. And I used Mark Zuckerberg as an example for that. One other thing that I really wanted to clarify that came up is that Career and technical programs, particularly for those at a community college, those are a different thing. A whole bunch of the criticisms I'm mentioning about people not focusing on the sorts of skills and abilities and practical shit that really creates value in the workforce. CTE programs, if you're in nursing or welding or automotive or early childhood education, dental hygienist shit, if you're doing any of that stuff, 9 out of 10 times they're crushing it. If you get the certificate, get the degree, get whatever credential you're after, that's going to be marketable and valuable more often than not. In certain fields, like anywhere, there's increase and decrease in demand for new workers at different times. So you might not be guaranteed a job. But in general, those programs are much better at providing students with the skills and abilities they need to get a job in their field. And the credential will demonstrate that. In part, because at least when I was working with any folks in those fields, I worked with a handful of them, especially in developing assessment, to how to assess whether students were learning certain stuff or developing student abilities. They were so much more rigorous and stringent, and they were actually demanding shit of students rather than like, oh God, the part-time instructor who's terrified to fail anybody because they think they're not going to get another class next semester, and then how are they going to pay their mortgage so everybody gets an A, or they just want to be liked. Way more rigorous and way more stringent, and the criteria are in general more demanding and specific. So 3 things now. If you're going to Brown, you're probably going to be okay just with a degree. If you get all of the experiences and can demonstrate the skills, and you developed your own app that you sold 12 trillion of when you were 14, you probably don't need a college degree to get a job as someone who's an app developer because you've already done it. But if you haven't, it might be worth it for you. Career and technical programs, very few of the criticisms I offer, unless I specifically mention a career and technical program, almost none of them apply to those. So those are some things I wanted to clear up. Something that's interesting that segues into a video that I am working on is a discussion I had with a buddy of mine, and they are a teacher at a major university in an engineering program, full faculty member, fully tenured. And they watched the video, and we were talking about it, and they were like, well, I don't think that degree inflation is going to be a problem anymore because COVID will have solved it. And I was like, whoa, how so? Well, they said they were failing students in record numbers in their upper division classes, failing or having students withdraw in record numbers, unlike anything they'd ever seen before, because they're just so unprepared because of the education they got when they were during COVID, whether they were seniors in high school or freshmen in college, just woefully unprepared. And their point was the people who could do the work, the good students, are still passing and getting A's. But it's just, there's not going to be any degree inflation because none of these people are going to get degrees. Here's where it's different, especially if you're at a community college. They have no incentive to pass students who aren't very good. At a community college, or at least the community colleges I've been around, there's every incentive in the world to pass students, even if they aren't good enough to go out in the real world and do the shit they need to do, because people are basing success rates on pass rates or retention rates. Does a student pass a class, or does a student stay enrolled? Well, that means you don't want to make students mad. You want to accommodate them. You want them all to pass classes. And oftentimes funding is tied to success rates, the degree to which students pass and the degree to which how many students you have enrolled. So it's in everybody's best interest to just pass people along, pass the buck, kick the can down the road until the real world smacks them in the face. And community college students end up getting smacked in the face a hell of a lot harder than Allison did. So I don't think what they were saying is true, what they said about COVID will take care of degree inflation because only really good students are going to be the ones getting degrees. Because I think more students will get degrees that don't actually have the experience, the knowledge, the abilities that a degree should convey they have. So I think a bunch of those students they think are going to fail are going to get passed and are going to get degrees and are going to not be able to compete. You could reflect and see if that's consistent with your experience. But also what I'll say is, in the video I'm working on, I'm going to tell you how you can take full advantage of that. How degree inflation can work to your advantage for you to make you a better candidate, more attractive, more competitive, more able to compete and succeed in the real world. But you're going to have to do it yourself. You're going to have to take responsibility for it. And you aren't going to be able to count on institutions, community college teachers, resources available there, and the institutions and what your teachers and administrators and advisors are telling you, because they might not know any better. They're all well-intentioned. And there are some who are going to give you absolutely the straight shit and tell you exactly what you need to do. But you're going to take responsibility for it completely on your own because you're a grown-ass human, and you're going to put on your cowgirl boots and hike up your big girl pants and kick ass if you want to. So I hope that addressed some things that might have been unclear about the degree inflation video. Another video coming your way soon that is going to give you the beginnings of a strategy to take over the world. Peace be with you. Bye.